Are we shocked at information that was released in the leaked Twitter files? What is the whole this whole situation about?
So some information came out from some people who worked at Twitter. Two revelations that people are being shadow banned. Majority of people who are on the right wing or right leaning is one. And of course, they knew about the Russian hack before the election, and they knew about Hunter Biden's laptop and had all the information prior to. And I've seen a lot of people report on this and do shows and do breakdowns over the weekend. And I'm like, is anyone shocked that social media shadow bans people? I've seen it happen to, I don't even want to say his name. I love you, brother. I don't even want to say
I
his
got I,
name.
I got shadow banned twice. This is early in the early stages of Earn Your Leisure. My own personal page, I got shadow banned. I was using, at that time, use hashtags. So it
Gotcha.
was like a hack where you put like 30 hashtags on each post, and that helps your engagement. What I didn't know is that if you do that too many times, it could become a red flag, and it could be, flagged as spam.
Yep.
And I got shadow banned. How I knew I got shadow banned was so obviously my engagement dropped, everything was lower, but I did like a random hashtag that nobody would have. Let's say like Ian Rashad Troy 197, something that nobody
Yeah.
else would have, right? I put that on a post, and then I go to that hashtag, and then it doesn't show up.
Mm.
So that's how I knew, okay, like this is like my posts are not being shown. Because when you type in a hashtag, like on Instagram, if you type in, red chili pepper, when you hit red chili pepper, 1,000 red chili pepper posts come up. Whatever it's in there comes up. So if you have a unique hashtag that nobody else has, then when you type in that, then you're supposed to come up. You're gonna be the only one that comes up because you're the only one that has the hashtag. So when you
Hmm.
don't come up, then it's a red flag. And then there was a couple other things that I had noticed, but it's definitely real. It's not a conspiracy theory at all. I experienced it firsthand. Like I said, I actually experienced it twice, and my page never really fully recovered from that either. At the
Wow.
time, I actually had more followers on my own personal page than Earn Your Leisure had. So the effects are long lasting, and it's extremely harmful, and it's real. So I know it's a lot of times people think like it's a conspiracy, and
It's real.
it's actually real. And like I said, I can speak from firsthand experience. Shadow ban is definitely a real thing, and it lasts 14 days. And the crazy thing is, I had did a whole research on this, and at that time, at least, it lasts 14 days. And 14 days to the day, I did the same test again, and then my hashtag started working again,
That's
and it
crazy.
was like the shadow ban was up. So now it's definitely a real thing for sure.
And now the part that is troubling is if these tech platforms that are left leaning, because Twitter probably has the highest congregation of left leaning employees, are they using that influence to rig an election or influence an election? Yes. I didn't think that was like the most controversial thing ever. Even with the Sam Bankman Fried thing, all the money that he gave was a very strategic move on his part to receive some sympathy. Knowing the behind the scenes of the business makes total sense now. And then he went on left leaning media and they gave him softball questions. Like, I love Andrew Ross Sorkin dearly. Executive producer, one of my favorite shows ever, Billions. Boy, did they lob him some softball ass questions that I did not think. And I know the thought is it's not our job to investigate or uncover scams, but when you have a person and he's being paraded around, and I think part of it is they're trying to make the case in a court of public opinion that he was unaware and that it was his team that did the customer transfer, so he is not guilty of fraud. I don't wish jail on anybody, but if had that been you or I, there's no way on earth I would be given that kind of grace publicly amongst any media. I mean, I've publicly seen it, people copy this show format on large networks, and then I talk to somebody at the large network and I'm like, it's good for you to come on. I'm like, the format was good enough to come on. What do you mean? So I just think it's interesting. The purpose of media is to control public opinion. I just don't know why people were shocked that people are getting shadow banned and certain information is being released and leaked. And so it's American way of business, always has been, always will be. It's just different players in the space now. But I don't think it's the most important news topic for us to cover, but it was so much conversation around it. We definitely had to address it.
Yeah, I think if the question is, are we shocked? No. I think that the part of it is he's trying to figure out who it is, right? Because ever since he's taken over, obviously we saw how he came in and how he let people go, and that was a whole controversy. But now there's still people inside of the company that are allegedly leaking these files.
Yeah.
And so he's made everybody sign an NDA. And so now it's going to become like a lawsuit. Once they figure out who's leaking it, now it becomes a bigger lawsuit because now you violated the NDA of the company. But I mean, if you don't get it soon enough, I mean, you're letting people go at a rate that people are going to be disgruntled. And so like you could have a disgruntled group of employees right now inside of it to say, all right, well, we're making our plans to leave anyway. Let's go out like this. So surprise, no. Will more leaks come? Probably.
Yeah.
We'll monitor the situation.
Shout out to Elon and Lori Harvey for enacting the NDAs. That's something I will be doing going forward too.
You heard about that? So just friend of the
Genius,
show,
businesswoman of the year. Shout to the
friend
queen.
of the show. Allegedly, this is all alleged. So Lori Harvey, in order to date her, you have to sign an NDA that if you go outside the legality of the NDA, it's $1 million lawsuit.
Pay that fine, baby.
Yeah,
2023. Yeah, y'all gonna sign
Lori.
in this ally purple. Shout out to the lawyer.
That's H. What's good, bro? Love.
That's smart though, because you have a brand to protect. Elon, same way. And then when you have people leaking company documents, it has me thinking like who was paid to enact those kind of rules and principles at Twitter. And once for the people who are leaking it, I don't want to cast any aspersions against them, as Stephen A would say, but there are people who either focus on like little task or extreme growth. I think if a person is like 2x or 5x in a business or making a business like 300% more efficient, you don't have time for BS like that. I think a lot of times in recessions when people have not been doing a great job, they will turn around and not be accountable and try and get revenge. Very rarely does somebody like bring in $50 million to the business and they want to get revenge because they'll find a way to get a piece of that money. But for everyone that is working, and I've told you this before, I know in the military it's different. I know in certain companies it's different. You have to find a way to get to the top of command, whether they're CEO, president, founder, and say, hey, what's the number one thing that you need without upsetting the middle manager? Because at the end of the day, if you get fired, your middle manager won't send you any money. This is dog eat dog, Walking Dead, Last of Us, above the rim, hardcore bunks, one-on-one bully ball. For everyone, please write this down. If you can't bring in $10 to $15 million for a company, you are not safe. And let's be honest, we're going to be real honest here today. That's an entry-level number. There's some bozos and rap that's walking around with 10 to 15 who got lucky 2 summers in a row. So for a major company, the number one focus for everyone has to be, are you a super producer or revenue provider? And the companies that you should invest in have a ton of those.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.